You know, ladies and gentlemen, I heard somewhere that there was a power. Somewhere, I think it was down in Egypt land. And there was a ruler there that I think they called him Old Pharaoh. At least that's the way the song goes. And they tell me that Pharaoh had turned a group of people into slaves and was mistreating them, treating them pretty badly. And the people didn't like it. They wanted to get out of it. And they were praying, hoping that some mystery power, some invisible power would do something, help them out. Well, there was a man came along, I'm sure you're familiar with the story, that told him that God said that his people go. Who God's people? He was all the people are God's people, but he was referring to the ones that were being persecuted and suffering. They say old Pharaoh wouldn't let them go, so they had sent some plagues down through there, did some damage. Now we talk about the plagues and things that have come through America, and not just America, but across the globe. Could possibly be doing the same thing, unless, however, some scientist started it in a laboratory or some animal had it who had been exploited by some person. You know, could be a many things. However, it came, and it did its detriment. And today, I think we have close to a 500,000. I think yesterday we had 400,000 plus. And today, I'm sure it'll be a 500,000 Americans that have died when the president who knew of it said it would be gone in about 1 or 15 people. Well, you know something, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you this. We have all been taught, we've all been brainwashed. I sit and tell you about what God has told me. I don't know whether God told me or it was just something boiling up inside of me. Whether God told me or whether it boiled up inside of me is one, because as far as I can see, it doesn't hurt anyone except those who are trying to oppress and abuse others. So I still say that we could all be misled and confused. I remember years ago, back in 2000 or before 2000, I had on social media uh, concluded from what I had been studying that there was going to be a problem in the election of 2000. And for that reason, I essentially tried to add my name to that presidential campaign as a write-in. Naturally, no Republican, no Democrat wants me. And why? You might ask yourself, well, Eddie, why don't they want you? They don't want me because I want peace and prosperity and freedom, joy of life and fulfillment of dreams for every black man and woman, every white man and woman, and everybody else in America, but not just in America, on earth. And that's why they don't want me, because the systems of the world have been set up to exploit people. And only God's system does not exploit. And so the whole world is in a process of exploitation, and anybody that's talking about justice, well, they're just not welcome. So I had heard that there was going to be a problem at the 2000 election. So I joined in, started campaigning as a write-in, and well, 2000 occurred, and I wasn't in. I even tried to draw some special attention to me, and I ended up going to prison. Well, I got out of prison, and they had the World Trade Center bombing, or planes going into those planes. And the first thing came to my mind is if they had chosen me as president, that wouldn't have happened. Now, I must admit, at first I said God was showing me that if they had chosen me, that wouldn't have happened. Maybe there wasn't God showing me. Maybe there was just the workings of God within this body delivering that message to me. However, it's the message I got. So on and so forth. But I want to just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that was doing after that time. I think I was hearing a lot of information from a dude named Alex Jones. Alex Jones and some of these other guys. I mean, Alex Jones talking about Columbine and people killing students and students not dying. They're just characters in a play going from building to building, acting like somebody's being killed. And he's going crazy. And hey, you listening to him, you can't believe it. It's just too out of this world. But then you start thinking, what if it's true? Then you hear people start talking about entertainers so concerned about making big money they have to go around and drink human pee and eat human feces just to get over and accepted within a group of people that's making money. Yes, this the same group. They tell you that they're drinking blood and eating the babies. Yeah, same old stuff. Lou Dobbs and those guys come in and they just coming. They come at you just like those people who believe in Donald Trump. They just shooting it. They have no evidence, but they're just shooting it. But when you hear that stuff constantly, you might find yourself believing some of that stuff. And if you find yourself believing what Alex Jones and those guys are saying, then you're going to believe it and you're going to act accordingly. Now, if you're smart, you start doing some research. You start trying to follow up on it and see what can you find about those situations. You might find that they don't even exist, and then you can get your head back together. So I'm saying I understand how all these people are acting crazy like they do. People believe in this, people believe in that. You're talking about joining your team, Republican team, Democratic team, the right, the left, the religious movement, all that kind of stuff. I want to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, all that stuff's a bunch of hogwash. There's a bunch of hogwash. And I'm going to tell you something about God. All these folks ain't telling you about God. Well, I just want to tell you this. They don't know what the heck they're talking about. I looked at this 400 years of living in bondage, 200 years here, and all of the hate that ever existed still exists. I'm looking at the preachers who have had these mega churches and white folks who consider themselves superior and supreme, and now I find out that the most despicable individual I have ever seen, with his lies and disrespect and morality, and every seeming like these right-wing evangelicals and fundamentalists love them, calling them from God and prophesying all kinds of things, and every prophecy failed. And they still out there talking about God sending. Now, who is God sending somebody to go to the state capitol, kill people? I mean, come on now, God killing folks? I mean, what's wrong with a heart attack? I mean, you kill yourself from a heart attack, but what's wrong with going to sleep, going to bed, don't wake up? God got that kind of power. What is this? He's sending these racist white folks down there with guns and lying mouths and sticks and hatred. I mean, what kind of God is that? I heard that God was out there at the White House on the 6th having a rally. Name was Donald Trump, and he was being their God. It's like in a Western when you people want to do, they want to get somebody to do some dirty work for them. They go out there and give them wine, feed them. In America today, in other places, they might give them some crack, feed them. And I'm talking about white crack, cocaine crack, or some weed. Feed them. Just feed them any kind of lies. They buy it all. And then send them out there to destroy a nation of people and call it God. What about the God that says you can have your dreams come true? How come you don't know that God? I never heard one of you talk about that God. I never heard you talk about a God that says white people and black people are God's people, and that the one that loves the other is a representation of God. How come I never heard you say that? I know why. Because when you heard Billy Graham and those guys saying that, you knew they were playing. You knew they were lying. You knew exactly that they were lying. Well, this is the problem that we have today. I'm going to end this thing. I don't feel like talking to you anymore, but I just end it this way. God is a spirit. You can't see God. But God is responsible for all existence. These houses that you see around here, this grass on the road you see right now, that sky now, God is responsible for all that. This guy you're looking at, God is responsible for all of that. You can't see God, but you see all of this, that God is responsible. And since I accept the fact that there is a God that I can't see, I allow that God to live in me. And what I expect that God to be through the representation to me, that's what I am to the rest of society. Why? Because I represent the God that I see. And that God says that you and you and you, in fact, 8 billion of you are entitled to food, clothing, shelter, education, and health care. And to make sure that you are guaranteed this in an abundance, every last one of you should play some part in the creative process. And having done that, that entitles you to all of the things that exist on the earth at the hands of man that you might desire of. And it doesn't lie, cheat, steal, kill, no racism, no bigotry. That's the purest thing I can think of. And if there's any man, woman on this earth or in America somewhere who has a clear vision of that, all you got to do is articulate that message. Show us more love to the rest of the population than what I've just shared here with you. And I'll move right on over there, right there with you to help you support it. In the meantime, this is what I'm supporting. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Do you know of anyone else that's supporting this? Do you know anyone else that's supporting that you and your neighbor and all of your neighbors can live like millionaires? Do you know anyone that's saying that everybody in Itta Bena should be able to live like millionaires? Greenwood should live like millionaires. Mississippi should live like millionaires. Inverness, Kosciuszko, Alabama, Georgia. What, any of you ever been told that that God is saying that you should live like billionaires? That if a billionaire can enjoy life a certain kind of way, so should you? Is anyone telling you that? I am, and you probably think that's a damn lie. And you think it's a damn lie because you've been taught by this system in America that you got to have money. And that money comes from those who have repossessed, or should I say, claimed all of the resources of the earth that God has given to all humanity. They've claimed it as their own, forcing you to work for the benefit thereof and giving you some money so you can't get what you're due, but what you can afford. And they keep you in bondage for the rest of your naked lives, and then tell you that the black folks did it to you. So the white folks hate the black. Then they tell the black folks, don't worry about it, thing gonna come when they handle it down, what trickle down, and it never gets trickled. This is the devil 101, Satan 101, hell 101. This is where we're living in, and we're on that path. I'm telling you once again, we're on that path to hell, and if we don't change, this virus just might take us all out. Thank you for your time.